Hey Roomie is your exclusive virtual headquarters. Hey Roomie gives you your own virtual hangout equipped with digital tools to empower and supercharge the growth of your community. Ina Flores is founder and CEO at Hey Roomie. So hello Ina, welcome to Startup Podcast. We're very happy to have you.
Super happy to be here, Johnny. Super excited.
Yes, I'm so excited to learn more about Hey Roomie. So dito sa Hey Roomie, it's an app as far as I know na pwedeng gumawa ng rooms yung mga communities, mga fandoms, mga influencers, and then they can like manage and they can kumbaga grow their community there ano. But I think you can explain more Ina. So ano nga ba ang Hey Roomie?
So, in a nutshell, Hey Roomie is a new generation social media platform that's really designed for online communities for today's generation, no? And it created specifically to harness the growing power of online communities. Now, ano ba yung growing power of online communities? That's something na we're gonna break down later, no? But I think just to kind of talk a little bit more about Hey Roomie, this was something that came about during the pandemic, or the seed of it came about during the pandemic. Um, Naranasan natin doon during those 2 years that we were kind of forced on the lockdown to bring our social interactions and engagements online to keep us connected. And it really created the foundation kung saan all of our interest groups, the foundation of our social interactions, migrated online. And even after the pandemic, it's still nagstay siya online, no? And it kind of
True.
became the always on connection in our pockets, that kind of keep us connected in between the face to face activities that we have. So the interaction within our online communities have evolved beyond social. There is now a well merged transactional thing that happens that is not clearly delineated na black and white. For example, nagkakwentuhan tayo ngayon, sabihin ko, uy, ang ganda naman ng mic mo. Ano yan? Tapos sabihin mo sa akin. Tapos
Yes, Ina,
bibilin ko
no?
na kaagad. Oo, kasi sabi mo I trust you eh. Pero wala ka namang makukuha. Right now, Right, wala kang makukuha dun sa pagbili ko ng mic because of you. So there are now inherent um, lifestyle recommendations, product
Yeah.
recommendations that happen in day-to-day interaction that is both social and transactional in nature. That is, and the platforms are not designed to optimize and maximize the potential with this evolved interaction that's happening within communities. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But in a
Yeah.
nutshell, Hey Roomie is designed specifically to harness that potential or the power of communities.
Yeah, that's true Actually, totoo yung sinabi mo about the pandemic. Actually, even ako nung pandemic, ang dami kumbaga simula nung pandemic, simula nung lockdown, ang dami ko mga sinusundan now na mga streamer, mga YouTuber, mga vlogger. Actually, nanonood ako ng mga Filipino vloggers like sila Kong TV and other stuff. And then na-realize ko na totoo parang if you just watch them, if for example in YouTube, they will say something and you will listen to it. And sometimes unti-unti mong kumbaga ma-adapt yung influence nila. Kaya pala sila influencer kaya yung tawag sa
Mm-mm.
kanila parang unti-unti mong ma-adapt yung lifestyle nila. And somehow, I mean, depende kung may sponsor sila, pero if you're a person watching them, you belong to the community kumbaga that's watching them, wala naman silang makukuha directly unless na kung may sponsorship Pero kung gumawa sila ng parang kumbaga community and then pwede kayong mag-form ng transactions doon, kumbaga pwede silang magbenta or something or pwede silang or so, whichever way maybe you can give more details to this. Somehow mas mapapower up yung connection ng dalawa and may benefit din dun kay influencer. Pero let's start with that right now I think hindi lang influencers tsaka content creators yung pwedeng gumawa ng rooms kay Hey Roomie. Pero let's start with
Mm-mm.
that So
Mm-mm.
ano nga ba 'tong creator economy na 'to Maybe you can give more details nga dito, maybe you can give more insights and like sa Pilipinas, sino ba itong mga 'to, saan ba sila, sa Instagram, sa TikTok, and then, basically just tell about them, just tell about like this industry na parang inyong sinusuportahan din right now.
So the creator economy, I think we've been hearing about it for the past couple of years, no? But it's a very, very interesting and very, very new phenomenon. It's a relatively new industry. And we actually experienced the growth and the explosive growth of it. So just to give a context, back in 2020, at the start of the pandemic, it was a $6 billion industry.
Oh.
In 2023, it grew to 104.2 billion.
Oh,
So
wow.
in just 3 years, and it's forecasted to grow to $250 billion by 2027. And this explosive growth was brought about by a few things happening at the same time. And I love talking about this because we're able to experience this kind of nagkaroon ng fork in the road in terms of the consumer culture. We experienced a generational shift in consumer culture. So these three things that happened at the same time. Number one, it was the coming of age of digital natives. So these
Yeah.
are your Gen Z that are coming of age, adding up to the population, together with the younger millennials who are also digital natives. It was
True.
the
True.
advent of
True.
technology being more accessible. So mas mura na ang smartphones that have a camera, um, mas may internet na in hard to reach places. So connectivity was available. And then the fourth um being at home by the pandemic. Suddenly we're forced to use and maximize this technology to the max. So these these three things no was really behind what kind of jump started the creator economy that is changing consumer culture forever. Um so how what does that look like? What does that mean? It meant that we had an entire generation of consumers that did not grow up with TV the way we were. We kind of
Yeah.
grew up on TV, diba? So the kind of content that they were exposed to were created not by institution, media, broadcast
Yeah.
channels, right? It was those existed as well, like movies, Marvel, those big series, right? But it was also um, primarily influenced by content that was created by real people. And
Yeah.
because these
True,
are content
actually.
created by real people, the topics also came in a variety of forms, right? Um, so a young girl could be, looking at makeup, but at the same time looking at how to create BB-8. I remember yung like how to put together like a CPU or and so the power of choosing what to watch was readily available to these consumers. So they are not particularly tainted by big media, and their demand for information is also different. Um, and so parang because there was a demand for more niche, interesting kind of topics, mas nag-grow. Because there was a demand for more content, side technologies like better cameras, cheaper cameras came into play. Suddenly there are new applications that made it easy to edit on the phone, on the go.
Yeah.
Suddenly things like short form became a thing. So it was almost like a
Yeah.
domino effect. It was really a ripple effect phenomenon. Um, and so it really changed forever how we make decisions when it comes to things that we're going to try out. Whether that is a new bag, a new restaurant, um, a new way of thinking, a new way of like working. It even empowered an entire new set of career, right? That did not even exist before.
Yeah.
It
Mm.
made it even opened up opportunities for wealth creation that
Mm.
was never even possible before. Um, so the creator economy is something that is continuing to grow and is something that is still shifting right now. We cannot put it in a box. Even the space of influencer marketing is very fast paced and it's evolving on a week to week, month to month basis, right? And so it's a very exciting space. So but I guess to kind of like put some discipline into it, no. So the creator economy is also known as the influencer economy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the a technical way to define it is it's the entire economic system built around the creation and distribution of content by independent content creators who are connected to their audiences and businesses via the internet. Uh, so that would be, I think, a succinct way to put it. And within that ecosystem, there are so many There are so many mini industries, products, applications, communities. The freelance community is thriving because of the creator economy, right? Um, so it's democratizing content creation, it's democratizing consumption, but it's also democratizing wealth creation. Never has self-made. There's so many self-made millionaires now
Yeah.
because of this phenomenon, no? And that's one great thing that I love about this space is that you only need to be equipped by, I guess, a mobile phone and your creativity, and you can literally create a life for yourself.
Actually, yeah. I mean, that's very true, ano. I mean, when you said kanina na yung henerasyon natin, henerasyon natin, medyo lumaki nga tayo sa TV, ano. I mean, ako nung lumaki ako, ang lagi namin pinapanood, well, it's either you're an ABS-CBN family or a GMA family. Pero usually, for example, sa tanghali, you will watch magandang tanghali, MTV, and then you'll watch these noontime shows, and then you'll grow up with this same actors, sila yung sa umaga, sila din minsan nasa gabi, and then usually, yung lifestyle ng family and sometimes yung mga commercials doon, yung mga commercials sa ABS-CBN for example or sa GMA for example, yun yung ma-adapt mo in your life in how you live ano. And it's true na yung sabi mo in the last parts na with the rise of I mean with the ease kumbaga of accessibility to internet now, I mean hindi pa rin ganoon kabilis ang internet sa iba't ibang parts ng Pilipinas pero unti-unti nagkaroon na tayo ng access. Mas mura na yung mga cellphones, mas mura na yung mga yung some gadgets, some smartphones for example. Nade-democratize somehow yung first yung mga kumbaga quote unquote creators. Hindi na lang yung mga nasa ABS-CBN or nasa GMA or yung mayayamang tao, yung mga artista. There's a new brand of artists nga ngayon sa mundo eh. Yung mga, kumbaga yung mga YouTubers, yung mga influencers. Kumbaga nagiging ano rin sila, eh, nagiging showbiz personality rin sila, eh, nagiging celebrities rin sila. Kasi ang dami na lang fans. Actually, sometimes more pa nga sa mga ibang artista na that belong to like this big brands. And then on the part of the kumbaga yung mga hindi creators, yung mga nagko-consume, yung mga consumers, nade-democratize din yung kumbaga access sa mga ideas kasi hindi nila nakukuha sa isang source. Kumbaga, ang dami ng creators, makakapili ka kung I'm not sure pero I think makakapili ka kung sino yung parang fit sa'yo and kung parang sino yung parang uy, mukhang okay to, mukhang bagay to sa lifestyle ko and I can develop further my lifestyle. So, I think yun yung parang dynamics din ano I think and ang ganda niya kasi, in this kumbaga it helps in kumbaga yun nga as you said also equalizing and then kumbaga democratizing yung wealth creation. Now let's go dun sa may kumbaga wealth creation ano kasi I think this is also a part of what Hey Roomie is doing ano. So yung mga content creators and influencers they can kumbaga create their rooms and then they can connect with their community. So can you give more ano no details the dynamics na to? Parang hindi ko sure kung paano talaga kumikita yung mga content creators ano. Maybe sponsorships ganyan sa podcast, hindi man ako like big time content creator or influencer, pero I have a few sponsors ano na nag-sustain ng podcast. Pero of course sa mga milyonaryong Pilipino, bilyonaryong mga influencer. So, can you give more ano no na kumbaga insights to this? And then paano papasok yung parang paggawa ng mga content creators or influencers ng rooms sa Hey Roomie or ng communities and then paano nag-grow, paano na supercharge yung communities? Is that in a win-win situation for both the influencer/creator and the community?
Okay, sige. So with Hey Roomie, as I mentioned earlier, no, it's a modern community's virtual home base. So I think before I answer that, I want to take a step back in how communities are right now. So a lot of communities are could either be self-organized, meaning for example, kumare you are fans of BTS, right? And you are self-organized communities. So these communities exist, by the way, and they're
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
well organized by admins.
Yes, yes,
So
true.
we have, for example, fan communities. We have, for example, other communities naman like Buhay Zero Waste. We have also communities like mga FH moms, right? So
Mm,
so right now, these communities live in different platforms. So they may have platforms of their choice. Um, So they could have an FB group, but
Yeah.
but they would also have a Twitter, and then they would have like an IG, they would have a TikTok as well. Depende sa nature ng kanilang group,
Yes.
kung fandom sila or private sila or maliit lang sila. Now, these communities use these big platforms as yun yung main broadcast channel kung ano yung nangyayari. But these communities also, maniwala ka sa hindi, meron pa silang secondary layer, meron silang mga group chat na yun yung talagang mga super close. So parang badly put,
Mm.
kung merong 200,000 sila na followers on Twitter, meron silang mas maliit na closed group sa FB kung saan mas nag
Mm.
interact. Tapos meron silang mas maliit na closed group on chat. Tapos minsan meron silang tatlong iba't ibang chat group kasi parang 250 lang yata yung limit. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and when they interact, kumari, sabihin nila, oy, gusto niyo magpasabay. Sabihin nila yon sa chat group nila, yung pasabay, tapos magsi-screenshot sila doon. Um, so dun pa lang, they're already spread out in different platforms. So parang as a user, depende kung malingat ako, pagbalik ko, naku baka na-miss ko yung announcement or may
Yeah,
na-miss
yeah.
ako na
Yeah.
information or parang
Yes,
dun
yes,
sa
yes.
chat group, nilagay nila yung link, hindi ko na mahanap kasi biglang nag-happy birthday na lahat ng tao. So nawala na, right?
Yes.
So, so these are natural interactions that are happening and communities are making do with existing platforms to make it work. So they juggle between 4 to up to 6 platforms to connect with each other. So the first thing that Hey Roomie does is it brings that number to 1. So Hey Roomie as a home base is
Amazing.
equipped with features that organizes all of these activities in a way that is, there's a separate place for certain things, right? So that the chat
Mm.
group really is dedicated to chat. There's a space, there's a calendar dedicated to things that are about to happen. There's a my favorite section
Mm.
dedicated to curated products, places, experiences, playlists. There's even space and a tab for curated channels, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So as a user, if my community is in Hey Roomie, it really is a one-stop gateway, right? It's a one-stop place.
Mm.
That's where everything will be, right? So it centralizes. So Hey Roomie centralizes a community's members, brand affiliation, social media channels, events, and interactions all in that virtual HQ. That's why we call it a virtual HQ. So you are given a virtual room as a community. Now there's an option for this virtual room to be passcode protected. So kung ayaw mo na people will stumble upon it, ayaw mo na may trolls, it's exclusive to just you and your community, it can be passcode protected. There's also an option for it to be a secret room. What does that mean? Hidden siya. Hindi siya searchable. So there's also that option. And there's an option for it to be public as well. So we provide a space depending on a community's needs and their objectives and what they want to do. And in this highly engaged virtual hub, no, because we're talking about a place where it's already an organized group, meaning there's already an existing interaction before going into Hey Roomie, so it's just about migrating into the space. We empower and enable these communities to monetize in 2 ways. Number one, we match them with brands that fit their member demographic. So badly put,
Mm.
if you are a K-pop fan org and your demographic is easily 16 to 24 years old, 95% women, right? It's very easy for us to match you with, let's say, like a makeup brand, right?
Mm.
Or and it would be very easy to match you with those brands. And the way we match the brands isn't also a straight off advertising space. No, we because it's a virtual room, we enable the partnership to be a little bit more hardworking. So, for example, we have a space called the My Favorites. It looks like an Instagram, but when members click a tile, it will go directly to where you can purchase or where you can order, right?
Mm.
So for example, that community can partner up with a brand. They can take over 9 of the tiles. Dahil kunwari may 11-11 sales sila. And they can automatically have like an affiliate link, no? So all of the members that click from Hey Roomie, you as the room owners or as the community will earn from that. So that's just one way, right? Another way is if a brand wants to be promoted or has a presence in your room because it's a virtual room. So we can skin the room ng badly put,
Oh.
kunwari, Grab. Kasi you go into the room, it's a
Ah,
virtual room, so you skin it, right?
yeah.
So they can earn from that also.
Hmm.
And so we empower them to be entrepreneurs as well by providing tools. So part of the roadmap of Hey Roomie is to enable rooms to be able to sell digital assets for because it's my fan culture that exists. So if it's appropriate for your room to have digital assets, then we can empower and enable you to have that. So for example, your roomies can display your digital assets in their room. Kasi may personal profile, may personal room siya eh.
Parang
So,
badge, parang
parang badge. So if I'm like a super popster or a super Swiftie,
mm,
I can, part of our roadmap is if you click on my room, you'll be able to see it decorated with like Swifty assets.
yeah.
So you can see the potential and the creativity behind,
Yeah.
right? So that's what Hey Ruby is all about. It's really specifically designed, and a roadmap is created to empower online communities. Because online communities really is the future. Gaya nga ng sabi mo, during the pandemic, parang ang dami mong interest and passion groups na sinalihan.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we really want to be the home for that, enabling people to find their passion in a safe space and to grow their community in a safe and creative space.
Wow, yeah, yeah. Actually, when you're telling all of this, this is actually very big now that I think about it. I mean, baka hindi siya ganun pa mag-grasp ng mga older generation. Sorry for that, Pero, I mean, even me, I mean, hindi kasi ako yung parang talagang like, right now, yung youth right now na parang talagang nung teenager sila yung, they face the lockdown and they really, kumbaga buong time nila, buong ano nila, andun sa online digital world, they join these digital communities, they follow napakaraming content creators, napakaraming influencers, and then, kumbaga, a big part of their lives kumbaga, connected doon, Pero maganda actually when I get to realize that, kumbaga, you're doing two things for them. First yung organization nga, kasi kalat-kalat yung mga apps, kalat-kalat, may Facebook, may Twitter, may Instagram, pero ang dali i-manage and ang dali for a consumer kung nasa isang room na lang, maybe yung onting friction lang dun is they have to try out a new app aside from the apps that they already are used to. And second, ang ganda rin actually nung pagtulong nyo sa mga creators to monetize. Actually, I think um kumbaga ginagawa rin siya ng ibang for example, for podcasters, yung connect ng mga podcasters sa some brands, and then the brands can sponsor, and then the podcaster or the creator can earn money from that. So ang ganda rin actually na tutulungan ninyo yung mga communities and yung mga creators, kumbaga, to monetize. Um Just to get a more concrete sino na ba, I've seen in your website, pero sino na ba, can you give some people or can you give some creators who actually have rooms in Hey Roomie? And then aside, I know kasi na aside from content creators, they're actually opening up then to other, kumbaga, modes or other communities like organizations, student organizations. So can you tell about like the user base right now of Hey Roomie? Sino ba yung mga gumagamit and sino ba yung mga pwede pang gumamit ng kay Hey Roomie?
So when we started Hey Roomie, it really was a joint effort with content creators at the time and fan groups. So I remember even nung concept pa lang yung Hey Roomie and it was just on Figma, we were already doing Zoom meetings with emerging content creators at the time. So part of the early adopters of Hey Roomie was sina Jay Miranda, sina Zendi. We interviewed them. Si Doc Kilimanguro. We also interviewed was part of it. The fan clubs that we interviewed included like yung Popsters ni Sarah Geronimo,
Oh,
the J
wow.
Girls of J Miranda, yes, yes. And today, no, some of our communities that are really in Hey Roomie are, I don't know if you're familiar. Ito na, magsasabi na ako kasi
Mhm.
mga young to. So, we have Don Bell Official, which is the fan community of Donnie Pangilinan and Bel Mariano. We
Mm,
have the
mm,
Believers. We have the
mm.
Donators. Of course, the Popsters are there as well.
Oh,
We
oh.
have Swifties PH. We have the Gemma Galanza community. Shout out to the Gemma Galanza community. So we do have different types of communities in Hey Roomie. Local fan clubs as well as K-pop fan clubs and yun nga, even sports fan clubs. Very
Mm,
recently, as recent as just this September, we actually opened Hey Roomie to student organizations.
mhm.
So because we really wanted to empower Gen Z, and where better way to expand than with empowering the student leaders, student organizations from top universities. So just very recently we welcomed 15 university orgs
Oh,
from
wow.
10 different from 10 of the top universities. So I'm super excited about that actually. I'm super excited for UAAP. So it's really, but that is not to say that Hirumi is open to anyone and everyone that has a community. So we also have hobbyists inside Hirumi as
Mm,
well. Um, Now the big communities that I'm talking about, those are the ones that we're having partnerships with. But Hey Rumi is actually already open to any interest groups or hobby groups that want to have their own safe virtual HQ. All they need to do is go to heyroomy.vip and request a room, and we'll open a room for you. So you could be as little as like 20, 50 people. You could be as many as 1,000, 2,000. There's no limit number inside the room. And each room is equipped with full specs of the features to help you manage your community, including your own exclusive chat room.
mm.
Mm.
Actually, puwede pala ako gumawa ng room dito now that I think about it. May mga actually, siguro mag-share lang din ako ng onting thoughts 'no about, podcaster, quote and quote podcaster. Actually, may mga, um, people na hindi ko kilala personally na actually they
Mm.
message me and some even like some give feedback, give suggestions, give good words. May mga iba din actually nagre-request pa ng mga startups na gusto nilang ma-interview sa podcast. And actually, I can utilize somehow no yung virtual headquarters ni Hey Roomie to connect with them and kung magkakasama sila, pwede rin sila mag-usap-usap dun
Mm.
about some episode, maybe about this episode
Mm.
with Hey Roomie. Ngayon ko lang naisip itong mga 'to kasi I mean for the longest time, I have never really like interacted directly with some of the listeners. Although actually may mga and I really appreciate yung mga nag-message sa'kin directly sa Facebook. Nagugulat na nga lang minsan, na una nagugulat ako na may nakikinig pala. Pangalawa nagugulat ako na they appreciate and they kumbaga and they give comments on what I do. So, salamat din sa mga nagko-comment sa mga people na yun na nakikinig at nagbibigay ng kanilang nag-e-effort kumbaga na to give words to me even without Hey Rumi, even without like with that community.
Oh my God. Alam mo, Johnny, can I add to what you're saying? So one of the pain points that some of our creators communicated to us before when we were conceptualizing this is ang dami nga nilang followers, but for them, kasi mga tao rin yung mga yan eh, di ba? Parang when they want, there's medyo limited yung how they can
Yeah,
interact directly with their
yeah,
user
yeah.
base. And pagdating kasi, like gaya nga ng sabi mo, pagdating sa big four, what is that big four? Your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Parang persona na yung nilalabas mo eh. Meron ng
Yeah,
certain
true,
level of
true,
I
true,
need to
true,
be a
true.
certain way. So when Hey Rumi came, it was an opportunity for these content creators to be themselves again. Because alam nila, yung ini-invite nila sa loob
Hmm,
ng Hey Rumi are their top fans. So the kind of conversations that happen actually would be things like, okay ba nakunin ko tong endorsement na to? Or tingnan niyo tong laman ng closet
Mas
ko.
may partners
Sinong may
kumbaga din.
gusto? Yeah, because it's like Hey Roomie really becomes the HQ behind the scenes. It's real people talking about ano kaya yung next na topic ng na pwede kong gawin as a content. Naglalagay sila ng survey doon. So for example, our fan clubs who also use the Big Four as their broadcast channels. Sa Hey Roomie nila pinag-uusapan, anong hashtag ang gagamitin natin? Yung idol natin magkakaroon ng concert, anong hashtag ang gagamitin natin sa Twitter party? Alam mo yon? Or parang doon din sila nag-uusap na, guys, patulong naman, pasabay naman ng light sticks, yung order natin ng light sticks, huwag niyo kalimutan. So it really becomes, because it's their own space, the interactions are different.
Yeah, yeah. At saka, kumbaga, the consumers, kumbaga, they also are able to give direction to the quote-unquote creator. And it's win-win in both sides kasi yung mga consumers, kumbaga, they direct. I mean, they become a part of what the creator, kumbaga, yung susunod nila, if na-follow nilang creator is doing. And then the creator, nabibigyan ng direksyon na talagang magbe-benefit yung mga nakikinig, yung mga nagko-consume sa content niya. And actually problema ko rin yun kasi hindi ko alam kung ano ang gagawin ko next sa startup podcast. Baka if ever, baka mas matulungan ako ng mga nakikinig. It's true naman I do this for the listeners. And kung sila mismo ay makapagbigay ng suggestions and ng direction for the podcast kung ano yung pwede ko pang gawin, what specific, kumbaga, details about each episode, etc., etc., what questions pa kami mga gusto pa sila mga questions na itanong, etc. It's actually very helpful for me even if I'm not like a big time creator. Pero anyway, now that I think about it, Hey Roomie is actually very big, especially now no with the Gen Z generation na talagang big parts of their lives ang digital communities. We cannot imagine it. Ako as a millennial, hindi pa naman ako ganun katanda ano. Pero I'm pretty sure na kumbaga this is big for them. And ayun, yun ang masasabi ko for Hey Roomie. Now, punta tayo sandali Ina sa ilang backstories about Hey Roomie kasi you're a startup founder and you mentioned kanina from sa ating mga behind the recording conversations na you're actually also a graduate from UP Diliman. So, can you tell about some backstories ni Hey Roomie? I mean, you founded this startup pero hindi naman ganun kadali mag-start ng startup. So, ano nga ba ang background nitong Hey Roomie? Paano 'to nagsimula? Are you a fan? Are you a fan before, a big time fan before, and you really experienced these pain points and then you wanted to do this? So, can you tell lang yung kumbaga yung pinagmulan and yung journey ni Hey Roomie?
Sige. Ang sarap sanang magkwento ng mahaba. Pero alam ko limited yung time natin. But, so Hey Roomie is a product of two things. So number one, it's a product of our work. My co-founders and I have been in marketing communications for more than a decade. Wait, baka ma-confuse ka. Kasi di ba syempre ang intro ko sa'yo, uy, nag-graduate din ako sa RK ng UP, di ba? Tapos biglang marketing communications for 10 years. So I did practice landscape architecture for about 6-7 years. But then I changed career and went into marketing communications, and I was practicing for PR, ATL, BTL, client side marketing for 10 years, no. So my co-founders and I have been immersed in marketing communications, and we've seen the evolution of how a lot of brands really migrated first into social media, digital marketing, and when the pandemic came, really again migrated their budget into influencer marketing. And that was like parallel to the explosion of the creator economy, wherein these self-made content creators have started to amass their own following and are becoming legitimate marketing funnels, right? For these brands, and brands were recognizing it. And during the pandemic also, I experienced firsthand being stuck at home. And as a fangirl myself, I've experienced having to go through pag-download ng Weavers, pagpunta sa Discord, paghanap ng mga Discord channel. 'Di ba? Paghanap sa Reddit, saan ba mahanap yung ganyan sa Reddit? So literal, naranasan ko yung watak-watak, yung maghahanap ka talaga sa lahat. And walang one official place. Tapos meron akong mga kausap sa group, pero parang yung FB group, parang medyo weird na, okay, nandun ako for the broadcast. But the actual interaction is with the Discord people. Alam mo yung ganon, yung may iba.
Yeah.
So,
Mag-change ka pa ng app.
mag-change ka na app. And also, at the same time that this is happening, we also saw the emergence of communities as influencers, which is distinct from personalities as influencers. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Yung home buddies, right? So home buddies, maghahanap ka kung anong aircon ang bibilin mo. Check ka lang, ano yung aircon? Okay, 150 comments. O sige, ito na yung bibilin ko. Hindi na ako mag-iisip. Diba? Naalala mo ba yung electric fan? Yung electric fan na yung mga tao sa home buddies, they started sticking wood vinyl into the electric fan blade para mukhang wood. Kasi nagkaroon ng trend on home buddies na yung wood and white. Basta yung ganong trend, yung mukhang wood and white. So, nagsimula silang magdikit ng mga stickers sa electric fan. Tapos biglang Asahi ba yung brand? I'm not sure. Please do not quote me. But a brand came out with an electric fan design na ganon. And it's sold like hotcakes. Naalala ko rin nung parang, syempre, alam naman natin yung plantito and plantita era noong panahon na yun. Pero nagkaroon din ng solar power era. And so the power of communities is different from the power of influencers. One is not better than the other. It's just a totally different dynamic. But a community kasi, when you are part of a community, you are there as your own regular self. You are there because you're brought together by a passion point or a hobby or an interest, common interest. And so there is already a certain level of trust. So when someone from that group recommends something and it's validated by a few more people, it's very easy to, sige, game, yan na yun. I try ko na yan. No questions asked.
Yeah.
So, yun yung emerging na power ng community. And again, while I was experiencing these things, mga kwento sa akin is parang, oo, nag-recommend nga ako, ang daming bumili, syempre wala naman akong nakuha dyan. Right? And it's not about being greedy, or it's not about having to automatically monetize, but there is an opportunity there that is not maximized at all. There is an opportunity to get rewarded for being a subject matter expert about something. And those are the kinds of activities that are super intertwined. They're not separate na transaction lang, magbabayad. Alam mo yun? Parang, and that's the kind of interaction that we want to be able to capture inside Hey Roomie for those opportunities to be there. And also for brands to come in a way na the community can transparently partner up with brands. Because the community knows their membership more than anyone else, and they will know and be able to screen na, we're partnering up with this brand kasi okay talaga sila, or this might be of interest to you guys. So there's that transparent partnership that we want to put in place also. So yun, the backstory is really the pandemic, experiencing the gap in a platform that can help us, number one, kind of bring together in one space things that are otherwise in different places. So a one-stop shop HQ for interest groups, fan group. Also a place for creator-led communities to bring in their top fans. And when I say creator-led communities, this isn't limited to influencers na parang entertainer. I'm also talking about life coaches or like an author, a board game designer, like a subject matter expert that has a community that is interested in their area of expertise. Hey Roomie is a place to bring them. And especially for those who are really good at things that are not necessarily showbiz or are not necessarily parang yung medyo mahiyain, ganyan. Hey Roomie is a place for them to create a community. They could have a secret community. They could have a passcode protected community. Um, where, for example, a comic book creator or a writer can bring in their top fans and they can really talk about the material. They can explore new things that they're creating directly with their fans. And I'm excited to see what that shows up. Maybe an up and coming indie musician can open Hey
Yeah.
Roomie, bring in some of their top fans and co-create an album together. I don't know. So
Wow. Yeah.
those are the opportunities that I would love for people to take advantage of in the platform. And I am also continuously surprised by how people make the most of our
Yeah.
our our platforms, right?
Mm.
We give you the platform. Everyone has the same functions, but because iba yung community nila, iba yung interactions nila, iba yung paggamit nila. So even I myself am surprised. Uy, okay pala yun, astig yan.
Yeah.
Diba?
Actually, kumbaga nagpo-provide kayo ng tool or ng virtual headquarters nga, and ang dami pang synergistic effects na puwedeng mangyari, puwedeng ma-discover din mismo ng creator and their community. Kumbaga, you're bringing this product to them, and then they will have kumbaga more power. They will have
Mm,
more power that they have never known before pa. And
mm-mm,
it will, kumbaga, it will grow bigger pa. Pag nag-usap, kumbaga, mas nagkaroon ng interaction yung creator or yung influencer or kung sino mang tao yan, sino mang, kumbaga, may community and their community. So, it's really amazing, Ina, actually, what you're doing. And I-mention lang natin na you're actually, that Hey Roomie is actually part of the most recent cohort ni IdeaSpace Philippines Accelerator program. So, actually, I'm seeing a bigger future pa and more growth pa to Hey Roomie. So, this is actually very big, and I cannot imagine kung, I mean, I'm actually excited din as well, no, na makita pa yung kung ano pang pwedeng mangyari kay Hey Roomie, and maybe in the nearest future. Um, ang daming iba't ibang niches, ang daming iba't ibang communities ang kumbaga may room kay Hey Roomie. So, maraming salamat, Ina, for this conversation. So, it's actually very this idea is somehow fresh and new, ano,
mm.
especially to me as a millennial and maybe sa ating mga tagapakinig. Pero when you think about it, ang laki ng future nito and ang laki ng potential nito, and it's actually kumbaga a change nga in how the consumer culture are kumbaga getting these ideas and getting entertainment and getting kumbaga adapting to the lifestyles dun sa mga pinapanood nilang mga creators. So, by the way, before we end pala, if our listeners want to know more about Hey Roomie, maybe merong creator na gustong gumawa ng room kay Hey Roomie, or may community na gustong magkaroon ng room sa Hey Roomie, so how can they find more information? And if they want to connect with you, how can they know more about you?
Okay. Rumi is present in all social media. So our handle is heyrumi.vip. So you can get information through Facebook. We're very active on Instagram. You can send us a message, a DM on Instagram. But if you wanna open a room, you can go immediately to heyrumi.vip. So that's our website, and just click request a room, and we'll be opening a room for you right away. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm on LinkedIn. You can just search Ina Flores, and I read my messages there. So feel free to message me there as well. Thank you so much, Johnny, for the support. I also wanna say that Hey Roomie really is a community effort. Even up to now, we are super in touch with our users and our community gatekeepers and our admins, no? And we're there to listen to their feedback. And and so Hey Roomie, as you see it right now, is really a product of our different groups and our different stakeholders. And it's also the reason why I feel like Hey Roomie is not just my own, but it's really a product of like Filipinos who love to come together because we're brought together by our passion points. And the vision for Hey Roomie really is, we're starting in the Philippines, but we really want to be the home where online communities across regions can flourish and to connect and to be able to, kasi, for example, our our fan groups at the moment, we're seeing the statistics, and
Yeah.
they're not all from the Philippines. Some of them
Yeah.
are from UAE, Kuwait, Australia, US, and it's very and I love being able to enable that connection amongst Philippine, not just amongst Filipinos, but amongst people who share like the same hobby, the same passions, right? So that's really the vision for Hey Roomie. It's to be the home for all communities for this generation.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. Yeah, so maraming salamat, Ina, for this conversation. And thank you for starting Hey Roomie. And I'll check that out. And I think I will
Yes.
request a room. So,
Oh my gosh, Johnny. Let's do that. Let's do it.
Thank you very much to our 32 patrons. This episode is super powered by TechShake, Asia's most active Philippine-based startup ecosystem builder creating bridges with investors, corporations, and governments. 1 CFO, tech-enabled CFO, bookkeeping, and tax services for startups and SMEs. Take 5 Outdoors, the best guided outdoor adventure tour in the Philippines. They specialize in hiking and mountaineering trips. Benjoy's Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, tapa, and tocino. D-Buzz, Web3 microblogging app promoting freedom of speech and content ownership. Pinoy IP Works, capture your startup's value proposition through patent and trademark protection. Packetworks, the leading enabler and only Internet of Things social enterprise in the Philippines. Looking for buy and sell online with Sigurado sellers. And NutriCoach, the all-in-one productivity tool for dietitians and nutritionists. This episode is powered by Pareto Consulting, AltSwitch, ePlayment, Tuala, and Hive Energy PH. AskLex PH Academy is our official e-learning partner. Get certifications on Lean Six Sigma, project management, data science, and many more. Support the podcast through the links in the description.